Welcome to another edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com Daily, which is free on the SprintCarUnlimited.com YouTube page. I've taken some grief because it's been a while since we posted one of these, and my buddy at Dirt Track Digest, Mike Mallett, has said that it's turned into SprintCarUnlimited.com weekly, but I promise it'll get better. And we're going to start today with our look back at the weekend and some of the storylines that happened around the country. We're going to start in central Pennsylvania. And speaking of Mike Mallett, his favorite driver gets the win at Lincoln Speedway. Tim Shaffer gives Mike Heffner his first 410 wins since September of 2019. Shaffer looked really sketchy early on in 410 action down in Florida, had some bad finishes, didn't qualify one night at Volusia. They got quicker in 360 action, gets 2 wins down there, comes home, goes 24th to 12th the first week at Lincoln. Obviously, some of those guys dropped out, kind of stalled out at 12th. But this week looked a lot better. Started third, fell back to fourth, and drove it back to a victory on a track that really was really demanding, hard to pass on. But Shaffer got it done, and it makes you wonder where he falls in as far as central Pennsylvania competition this year. You know, you had the big three. It's Dietrich, Freddie Raymer, and Anthony Macri. Does Shaffer challenge those guys? He's going to travel a little bit. So, you know, to the big races, probably more so than, say, Ryan Smith did, or maybe even Greg Hodnett. But I think Shaffer can do enough damage here with the speed he's picking up now with Heath Moyle turning the wrenches, that he contends with the top three, that he maybe steals a win or two from the top three. How many wins does he get over the season? I don't know. In the 410 division, I'm thinking 5, 6, 360s. You add those in there. When he runs a 360 around here, that motor they have, it was always good when Greg Hodnett had it. It's going to be good with Shaffer in it. We saw it down south when he ran with USCS. He was really good with it. So I expect maybe 3, 4 wins there as well. So 9, 10 wins between 410s and 360s throughout the season. That's very doable. What have we learned in the first 2 weeks at Lincoln, other than it was freaking cold this week? And Lincoln will run no matter what. That hasn't changed. The ownership's changed a little bit. But if anybody's going to beat the elements, it's definitely Lincoln Speedway, good, bad, or indifferent. So, but in first 2 weeks, you really haven't seen a lot from Danny Dietrich. He's drawn bad. Freddie Raymer, likewise, drawn bad. The heavy hitters have not had good pill draws. Anthony Macri really hasn't had good pill draws. So it's really allowed other people to shine. Hence Shaffer. Kyle Moody's had 2 top 5s. He's probably the point leader over at Lincoln. I think he's the only driver with 2 top 5 finishes in early season action. So, you know, I think a couple takeaways are, look, you can't take anything away because they're draw shows, and pill draw and day surfaces are really important. But I do think there's a couple trends here. Kyle Moody feels like this is a pressure year for him. He's got to make something happen. Said he's not going to keep doing this if he doesn't get results. Right now, I think at Lincoln Speedway, he might be the guy to beat. I don't think Dietrich's going to be there every week. And as for Freddie Raymer, I'm not 100% sure. I think you could see him go to Port once in a while. He has a track championship there last year. It'll be interesting to see how that pans out. But Kyle Moody's had a good start to the season. Again, Tim Shaffer getting a win early, I think that was huge. Tim Wagaman, I think that team's going to be formidable at Lincoln Speedway. Last week they were buried, drew bad. 1-lane track around the bottom, got better in feature time, but to get to the feature and where you lined up, it hurt him a lot. But again, I don't put a ton of stock into the first couple day shows because it's draw. Usually the weather's sketchy, so you have 1 lane. When it goes to night racing is when I think we'll know more. We're going to hit the road. The big story in sprint car racing right now is Carson Macedo. On Friday night at Volusia Speedway Park, the Outlaws got their season restarted. They ran their 3rd race of the season. Carson Macedo charged from 10th to the win and was going away at the end. I mean, he was crushing the field. got through turns 1 and 2 really well. The car was locked down through like one lane off the bottom. Really, he had no equal, and he gets the win. The next night, he comes back at East Bay, and you think the team maybe takes a step back. Didn't time well. Carson didn't turn very good laps. Started 17th on the grid. You're thinking top 10. He said, yeah, okay, puts it third. He was probably every bit as fast as Aaron Reitzel, maybe faster at the end of that race. Team looked really good, and all of a sudden, he's leading the World of Outlaw point standings. So I'm at dinner Saturday night as this is transpiring, and I actually had somebody earlier in the day ask me about Macedo and what my thoughts were. And then, of course, at dinner that night, hey, Carson, where do you think he falls in? When people are talking about you, that means you're a big story. And Carson Macedo right now is one of the biggest stories in sprint car racing. He's leading the World of Outlaw points by 4 over Logan Schuchart. And I think there's I wonder if some pressure is going to build, maybe not on Carson, but on the team. Hey, you got to perform. You're now, with the top guys in the sport. But I will say, slow down, pump the brakes. We're only 4 races in. The top 5 in World of Outlaw points are within 24 markers of each other. You have Macedo leading, Logan Schuchart, Brad Sweet, then David Gravel and Donnie Schatz. David Gravel and Donnie Schatz are tied 24 points back. So I think there's a lot of time to play out. So as Carson's running well now, and I think that team's going to be good throughout the year, I'm not ready to say, okay, they're going to win the World of Outlaw title. There's a lot of racing left. It's going to be interesting see how that car performs in Pennsylvania. David Gravel's really good in PA and has been throughout his career. Carson Macedo does have a win at Williams Grove last year. So I think he's getting better here, but will they be as dominant? Will the 41 be as dominant in PA, which is, it's pretty huge in the grand scheme of the World of Outlaw point standings. So Carson's having a great run now. You got to enjoy them while they last. Sorry, say that 5 times fast. And I think this team's going to be good. How good? I'm going to take a wait and see attitude. That's going to wrap up this edition of the SprintCarUnlimited.com Daily. Check out SprintCarUnlimited.com for all your sprint car needs. We'll have the podcast this week with Carson Macedo and Sealands Grove owner, or I should say management team extraordinaire, Mike Hefner, on the show. He also owns Tim Shaffer's car. So stay tuned to that. We'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Stay tuned.